r/AskReddit by Redmond Dts. People who keep weapons on their bodies at all times. What was a time where you had to actually use said weapon? Guy tried to pull a knife on me after I confronted him for being in my delivery truck. All I had to do was lift up my shirt and place my hand on my gun, and he gave up. We called the police. They took him away. Nobody died, no shots fired, no stabbing. Downstairs neighbor's boyfriend got drunk and thought I was the reason why she wanted to break up with him. Because earlier in the week I jump started her car when her battery was dead. So to him, that meant I was screwing her. Anyway, he starts screaming and breaking stuff. I opened the door and she runs out of her apartment. And he is screaming he's gonna kill the bitch. I had a .357 revolver in my hand, held behind my back. He's got a tire iron, and he's coming up the stairs. I tell him to go back downstairs. I called the cops. He needs to leave. He yelled at me that he's going to take care of me and keeps coming up the stairs with the tire iron. At that point I lift the .357 and thumb back the hammer and tell him calmly to leave now. He goes white in the face and leaves. Score 1 for Smith & Wesson. When I was like 21-22, I carried a nightstick, like an extendable police baton. Friend and I were walking through a subway underground, and he got attacked. There were 7 of them. So I got it out and swung. It extended and whipped one of them on the back of the head, knocking him out. This gave my friend a chance to run. But they all came at me. I ended up smashing 4 of them up real good with multiple face shots as they came at me. I got hit a handful of times. Managed to get a break and ran for my life out the other side of the subway. Turns out the police were at the other end. We all ended up in handcuffs. Apparently 3 of them ended up in hospital. First guy had his head split open. Police showed me pics of the stick that was bent. I had to go to court for having an offensive weapon, and when the judge read the statement, he told the police to drop the charges. I witnessed a very aggressive driver cause an accident and drive away. I stopped to give my info to the driver of the car. That was it. The aggressive driver must have noticed because he came back around. He was enormous, about 6'4" or so, and ran up to me. When I turned to face him, he picked me up off the ground by my jacket front. Scary, especially since I'm a largish man myself. As my feet left the ground, I swung the pen in my hand at his face. It pierced his cheek and came out near his chin. There was lots of blood. He dropped me and I left real quick. The pen, it seems, is truly mightier than the sword. Never had to fire around at anyone, but I often work in pretty rough areas and I start really early. At around 4 AM I arrived on site to finish an install before they opened for business at 7. I was sitting in my car on my phone waiting for my apprentice to show up when someone tapped on my window. Dude kept asking me what if I could give him some money. I said I got no cash, but you can have some granola bars if you want. As soon as I rolled down my window, he reached in and like scrambled to unlock my door. I rolled the window up on his arm. I kinda panicked and kept telling him to F off. Lol, he couldn't. He got his arm free and punched my side view mirror off, then started attacking the window. I pulled my carry pistol out, he saw, and ran away. It all happened in like 15 seconds, but it was so chaotic I just remember sitting there like, what the fuck? I did not complete my job that day, lol. Former tradesman here. I was working doing some rooftop work in a ghetto. A horribly failed experiment in public housing. My apprentice and I were sitting on my tailgate waiting to start the day. This skinny kid, maybe 14, walks up to us, and this is at 5:45 in the morning, and pulls out a utility knife and says, "Give me your wallets." My apprentice pulls out a utility knife and says, "Take it from me." I had my knife in my hand, and probably more dangerous, a cup of 190-degree McDonald's coffee. But then, the guy we were waiting for showed up. The largest native dude I've ever seen. Used to be a bouncer at a famous college bar in town. He clasps a hand on this kid's shoulder, with fingers like Italian sausages, and full on Shreks the kid. This is the part where you run away. My at the time girlfriend, now wife, was waiting in the car while I delivered a package to be shipped. I always tell her to lock up, but forgot to this time. So she was sitting in the passenger seat with the engine running and playing a game on her phone. I came out of FedEx and walked to the car, noticing another man who was wearing a mask outdoors in front of me, heading the same direction. He walked up to the driver's side door while never reaching into his pocket for keys. I walked faster while following him to close the distance, as this gave me a bad feeling. He grabbed the door handle for the driver's side and began to open it as I reached the trunk. I called out, "Excuse me, sir," and he moved quicker to get in. I drew my pistol to low ready, planning to shoot him in the head if he reached down to put the car into gear, as with her in the passenger seat it would be a kidnapping. He glanced back and saw my weapon, which got him to stop advancing. He then said, "Sorry, wrong car," despite there being no similar vehicles in the area, and he left on foot. We also left and called the police. Apparently there have been a few carjackings in that area. Not me, but a friend. He always dressed like he was a cowboy rancher long before Yellowstone came out. He did work on his family tiny ranch, but he was legit the only one who dressed like that in the family. It was ridiculous and out of place. He always carried a ridiculous knife. We would give him shit. "Dude, it's Central Illinois. What you afraid of? A bear attack? Mountain lion? None in the area." He would always say you never knew. He was attacked by a damn coy dog out of all things, stabbed the thing to death. We still give him a hard time about looking like he just walked out of a Yellowstone set, but we don't give him shit about the knife anymore. Still carry the same knife over a decade later. Wow, I had to look up coy dog. I did not know they could hybridize. A coy wolf can be a thing too. I used to have a holster riveted to the front fairing on my bike, so when I sat on it my pistol wouldn't dig into my side. I was on a rural highway minding my own business when a huge old dually rolled coal on me. I gave him the finger to express my displeasure. This was problematic to him. He slams the brakes and hops out of his truck. He grabbed what looked like a crowbar, but may have just been a pipe from his bed, and starts to close the 40-ish feet between us very angrily. This was problematic to me. I pulled the pistol from its holster and chambered around and leveled it. This was problematic to him. He quickly turned around and threw his crowbar in the bed of his truck and drove the F out of there. I was really just thankful that my firearm did the most basic part of its job and worked as a deterrent because 1. I didn't want to shoot anyone, and 2. I didn't want to deal with the mess that comes after that. I was glad the guy made the right choice and hope he learned not to be a hothead for no reason. Reading your story made me laugh in the office. Now my boss thinks I'm not working. This is problematic to me. Yeah, I always keep a permanent marker on my bag in case I needed it. To sign on something, or to mark something out. But about weekly at work, people asks me for it, and I say yes I do have a marker. But yeah, my country Singapore considers permanent marker a weapon. Not I, but an old friend was babysitting their friend's self-serve car wash in the hood for a week or so while they were out of town. Anyways, he was there resupplying the soap and whatnots, and someone shot at him, and he had his gun, and shot him in the ass. Cops let him go, but kept his car for several days for processing. I carry a gun most days. I've fortunately never had to shoot anyone, but I work in Gary, Indiana, so better safe than sorry. The most I've done is flash my holster to a guy getting aggressive at the gas station. Was in basically dead stop bumper to bumper traffic and had my windows down cause it was hot. Two guys came out of nowhere on my passenger side. One tried to unlock the door, and other was circling back to the driver's side where I was. I tried to roll the windows up, and they pulled a metal pipe and broke my window. One pulled up his shirt and had a gun on his waist and said that get out the car or I'ma shoot yo ass. I'm a cop that was off duty. I said sure, and the one with the gun looked back for some reason. I'm guessing he was trying to see if cops were coming. I took that second to pull my gun and fire on him, striking him in the chest. His partner ran off. He didn't make it. His partner was later captured. Always keep a knife on my person. Never had to use one as a weapon. Mostly utility purposes. But like a sweater or a condom, I'd rather have one and not need it than need it and not have it. Every day. I lost count of the days I had to pull my knife and cut into a stubborn fucking pack of crimp-links. That's all folks. Thank you for watching. If you like videos like this one, why not like and subscribe for more. Have a nice evening. Tell your friends about me.